Welcome everyone to Strategy Talks. Today I am joined by Mapu, and an esports observer. He has observed for StarCraft and most recently the Age of Empires 2 Red Bull Wololo 5 tournament that was hosted by, well, Red Bull, as it says in the in the name of the tournament. And he made a big splash. If you're watching the tournament, you'd see in the chat there was CLAPU for Mapu that was being spammed by all the fans of the game and of the tournament and of the whole event. So Mapu has certainly made a name for himself in the Age of Empires 2 community. So today I am very pleased to be joined by none other than Mapu. Welcome, Mapu.
Hello, thank you so much.
Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting interview for me. So this series that I'm doing, strategy talk interviews, it's normally with players of the Age of Empires 2 game, or community members, people who are like high profile and well known in the community. So we can sort of like take a snapshot of their time that they spent up to now in Age of Empires 2 as a franchise. And I think you're like the newest person to the community, Mapu, and I know you certainly made a name for yourself in the last Red Bull Wololo 5, as I said in the intro, because people were very impressed by how quickly you were able to just go to all the important moments in the game, especially at the right times. As most people who play this game would know, it could be an art, and it takes a lot of experience and skill to really understand the flow of the game. So I as well was also impressed by what you were able to accomplish. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I think I want to start. First of all, so for not so everyone who will see this interview, not everyone will know what observing is. Why don't we start there? What exactly is an observer?
Well, observing is basically you control the in-game camera, of course, obviously, and you try to make it look very good, pleasant to the eye for just anybody watching. Like if you watch pro gamers, for example, they move
Yeah,
really fast, so sometimes it's really hard to keep track of something. And like I see myself a little bit more as someone who's basically trying to get a good angle. Like if you are a cameraman, you're trying to get a good angle on something, you're trying to have it like in frame perfectly, or like really speak for itself, basically, like the
right.
picture you take speak for itself. And that's something I try to do in common with, like, and then it goes into the gaming part, where like you need the understanding of the game, where like what to show, what is important, where what are the casters gonna talk about probably in the next couple seconds. Like that's all stuff I try to think about, and if I'm really on point, you get like these amazing shots where like the casters are just starting their sentence and I'm
Right.
bam instantly there, and
Yeah.
like everything comes together like a real fine like show basically, and it gives a really good experience for the viewer in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember I was watching in the middle of Red Bull Wololo. I think Brittany had interviewed you, and afterwards, Dave and T90,
Yeah.
two prominent casters in the AoE2 community, Dave was remarking about, how it's almost like magic. Anytime I think about something, Mafu is already there, so it's certainly a skill that even some of the oldest and long time players, have remarked about. And it's so in a way you're like the most important person to the tournament, right? Because if you don't do your job right, the tournament's gonna be like a complete mess.
Yeah, well, if the yeah, of course it depends how it's going to be set up. I mean, Age of Empires had almost no observers for most of the time so far, and like casters have been doing their own observing. So if it's set up like that, there's obviously no problem. But like if you bring in an observer, it's a very key role between the production side and the casting and in-game perspective. And yeah, basically, if I would be late, everybody would have to wait for me, basically.
Right, right. I mean, you're very humble, but I'm saying that the observer, most important person, because when I'm watching the game, I want to see the game. Nothing else matters to me. If something is going on over in the middle of the map and the observer is like off to the side watching like the trees and the birds, I'm like, I'm tuning out. I'm just gonna go watch something else. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so how did you get into observing?
Observing in general was like, okay, so I started out. Let's go way back.
Yeah, let's
Like
go
my
all the way
my
back.
first computer game I ever bought myself was Age of Empires 1. And I
Ah,
really enjoyed strategy games from that point on forward. And I went into Age of Empires 2 and StarCraft 1 at that time, played those two a lot. But we didn't have internet at the time, so I couldn't play any online. We only got like internet 2005, really stable one where I could start to play online. And at that point, like Age of Empires had fallen off for me a little bit, and I was a
right.
lot more into StarCraft. So
Okay, okay.
I started to see some pro games there, which have been blowing up in Korea for like years already, and they were being televised and all that big production behind that kind of stuff. And I noticed that the observer in StarCraft was like doing those neat little things to try to make the experience a little bit better. Like he wasn't using mouse scrolling, for example, on the like mouse edge scrolling
Right.
to move around. He was moving the arrow keys, using the arrow keys to get
Oh,
it a little
wow.
bit smoother down. And he was like trying to hide the mouse cursor in StarCraft because there isn't. You can only select so many units in StarCraft, and it doesn't make much sense to have it around a lot. There was no drag scroll at that time,
Right.
and yeah, so he was like hiding it in the framework of a unit he would select. It was really cute, and that's when I started to notice there's something really behind this, like a key role in that position, which is very interesting to me.
Right.
And yeah, then I went into university eventually after finishing school, tried to study a bit, never really got too far though. Um, and StarCraft 2 came out. I played a lot of that. Like 5 years into StarCraft 2, I had a chance to get an internship in an esports company
Uh-huh.
in Germany. Take TV, shout out to them. They were basically my big stepping stone, and they were involved in the Red Bull productions.
Okay.
For I think they did 3 and 4. That was all their production, and now with 5, they were still involved heavily in the technical side. So yeah, I started out there as an intern, and I was basically printing T-shirts down in the cellar, in the vault,
Oh
and
no.
for the events they had. But they never had an observer for their own events. They had like 2 StarCraft events each year, and
Right.
yeah. So I was to the guy who was managing that at the time. I was like, you know what? Set me in there. I'm gonna do the observing for you. It's gonna be so much better. People are gonna love it. And he was like,
Okay.
can you do this? And he was a guy who had no plan about the game. I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, let's do this. So yeah, I started from there. Basically, that was my first big stepping stone. I got noticed by other companies who were looking for an observer. There was an open
Right.
spot during that time in the community there. So I kind of went from there really fast upward to bigger events like IEMs and
Mm-hmm.
the BlizzCon and whatnot. And yeah, just this year, basically, or late last year, I got a message from Take TV, basically, again. And somebody was asking me, how is it about me in Age of Empires 2?
Okay.
If I would try to, put work into growing into this experience and try to make something happen here, like trying to get a good viewer experience for this game as well. And I was like, all right, I really love the game because I played it like basically each year on, on Christmas with my brother on
Nice.
LAN. Whenever we met up, we played it on LAN against like AI with against 5 or 6 AI, Black Forest standard. And yeah, so I knew the game like a long, long time, but I never really went into the competitive scene. And I was really interested at that time, like because it was always like attached to my heart. Basically, is well, one of the games I grew up with, of course.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a really, really emotional part for me as well. And like even more than StarCraft 2, so because it's like way longer. It's been there way longer for me as well. And yeah, so I started to watch a little bit more of the competitive part and try to get into the game a little bit more, like how that's stuff where I noticed actually back in the time when my brother was having LAN parties and
Yeah.
at our house, and he had a lot of friends coming over. One of those guys was apparently really good. Like he was really high ranked on the ladder. It was like I don't know if it was a ladder or what. It was like 2002, so it's really, really, really back there. And he was apparently really good. And like I watched them play a lot back in the day because I didn't have an own PC to join the LAN party. So I was just sitting around watching the people play. And he was like doing stuff forward villagers, grabbing each gold on the freaking map. He was doing stuff you see pros do now still, and
Oh,
that's really amazed me. Like all the real basics from the game, they never really went away. Even if you have so many new civs and so many new strategies, like those
yeah.
most basic things, how powerful forward stables are, for example, or forward seed shop, or like how good it is to control a gold or just like grab it before your opponent can grab it. That never really went away, and that's so beautiful about the game, I think.
Okay, nice. And have you been following like Age of Empires for like a while? Or like when you first got a call from Take TV, it was really like you getting back into thinking about the game.
Yeah, I was really at that point actually when they asked me, because my brother was always following the game a little bit more than me, and he was always moving over,
Right,
talking to me about it. But I know there was a lot of, like, he was always into all the mods that came out that improved the graphics and like the HD version and whatnot. But there were so many network issues and whatnot with those, so we never really got into those as much.
right,
So
right.
yeah, and eventually, like, having a family now, and my boy is like 2 years old, so Age of like the version we have right now, DE, coming out like at around that time where it got really busy for me with family, so I didn't really have too much time to commit there because I was always doing StarCraft as well. And yeah, I just got into the game again right now with Take TV messaging me basically this year.
Okay, okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. How have you been enjoying your time back in Age of Empires too? What's that's been like for you?
Like, so Red Bull Wololo 3 was not the greatest experience, to be honest. A lot of people were foreign to the idea of having an observer.
Right.
Excuse my
Oh,
little
you go
son there.
take care of that. You don't worry about that.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
He's with his mother, so they're gonna be fine for a while, I think. So yeah, Red Bull Wololo 3 wasn't the best of events for me. It was really tough to get a foothold
Mm-hmm.
into things, and the casters weren't on the boat. There was a lot of miscommunication as well for the event prior to the event, so which ended up in a situation which was not optimal at all. And yeah, there was a lot of like bad blood within the team as well at first, but I think we pulled it around during the event where it was to a stage that people could enjoy it just as they would
Right.
usually enjoy it. And it wasn't yet at a level which was Red Bull 5, of course. But I think that was like the hardest thing for me, really, I've ever done in my career, because there was so much like hate coming as well. Like in the first days, there was like, get rid of the observer, get rid of the observer. I don't know why he's here, and there was even people from Red Bull saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of the observer. I'm like, what?
Oh no.
So that was really really bad at first. Excuse me. Um,
Okay.
so it was a tough road, but I'm really happy that I didn't give up there, and it just didn't like end at that event. And we pulled through with Red Bull 4 and 5 now, and I'm really happy at the point where we are right now. So I think, yeah, just I know what quality we can bring as a team. So getting everybody on board was an investment there, and give me a second. So now getting everybody on board was an investment, and having this right now, I think, is a beautiful thing we have right now. And I
Yeah.
think there's so much potential going forward from this point on, because people are going to notice there is actually value to this concept, and it's really good. It can be extremely good. So why not have it more around? You know.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't get to see much of Red Bull Wololo Tree myself, but I did know that there was some observing issues at the time. So between Red Bull Wololo 3 and Red Bull Wololo 5, what changed?
I think we just got used to each other. The casters and me personally, we just got used more to each other. I know more how they talk about things, so it's easier for me to assume what they're gonna say in just a couple seconds, you know. And for them, it's easier to know now not control their own stuff and not look at their own PC, but look at my feed and just talk of that. And it's easier, and they get used to it because when they look at the stuff and on their own PC, they can check everything. They can double check and check on that and this and there, and now they'll talk to me, and that's a progress or a
Right.
system everybody just had to get used to. And I think that's the biggest part is like experience for all, like for the whole team basically there.
Okay, okay. Did this change in like Red Bull 04, or did you talk to them like outside of the tournaments and watch some streams perhaps? How did you like how did you get into the process of like learning um the different styles? Because I mean there are multiple casters. There are what, four casters for Red Bull 05? There was T90,
Yeah.
there was Dave, there was Mem, and there was Nilly. So you would have had to, I guess, either learn the game or learn them. Which one did you more lean to? Learning the game or learning them?
um like both. I guess. 3 was the most learning experience for me, I guess. And like at 4, I was already at a point where I think I could provide very good footage and very good play with the casters, basically. I think it was a little bit more on their part getting used to having an observer than me being there
Right.
for them and providing
Okay.
them with stuff. Because I have my experience from the other game, of course, and in StarCraft, I work with like I don't know, over a dozen different casters. So there's a lot of different styles working there. So it's not that difficult for me to adjust to somebody. I need like 1 or 2 maps with them, and then I'm in a flow basically. And yeah, if I have like a couple events experience, I can get really good with them as a pair or as a combination. So
Okay, okay.
yeah, that's not that hard for me, or at least on my part, I guess.
So it was more the community and the casters had to embrace you more than you had to like learn around them. Yeah. So it's
Yeah, I
a
think so. Yeah, we had a lot of feedback talk for Red Bull 3 and 4 with the casters, basically after each day, and even in between the broadcast days, we had a couple of days where we just were talking about how to improve this and what makes them comfortable, that they can be more comfortable, what they want to see from me. And I got a lot of feedback on, yeah, this is stuff you don't really need to focus on, and we want to see more of this and that. So we had a lot of talk there, and I think that communication was really key to become like as good as we are right now.
okay, excellent. And did you actually have to like how much of the game did you have to learn? Because, like, for each serve and for each map, they're like different timings, where things become important. Like, when you reach feudal age, there might be something of interest. When you reach castle age, there might be something of interest. If you're on a certain map, there might be a resource and a player going to that resource, like, the ones with the markets in the middle, like knowing that when a player goes there, that's super key and important. Like, how much of the game did you actually have to learn and how much time did you have to spend learning?
Actually, not much because, like, as I said, I know age like for a
Right,
very long time. So, like, when I see a map, especially as an observer, you see the whole map, right? So I'm just quickly gonna glance over the mini map, and I know, okay, this is the resource locations basically, which are probably gonna be key. And yeah, about the timings, that's a little bit more difficult, of course. It depends a lot on the civs as well, and that's where I let the casters lead most of the part. If it's like timings, and because they know those things way better than I do, and if they have like, of course, there's stuff that I see as well, so then I will give it to them. But sometimes I just react instantly to what they say, like, okay, and now we have this timing coming up, and I'm like, okay, there we go.
okay, excellent, excellent. So you're just a fast learner then.
Well, it's about priorities, I guess. It's like priority queues, basically. You're trying to work with as an observer. Like, what is
Right,
your most priority right now? You listen to the cast. Of course, like this is my jam. I listen to what the casters are saying. They know definitely better than I do. Even if
right.
I would get really good, I would never get in their level. I try hard before, so I know that like where my skill ceiling is. Basically, I can get to a good understanding of the game, but not
Right, right.
not as much as a player, maybe more as a viewer. Um, But yeah, this is where I, let them lead a lot as well. And at other times, especially where there's nothing really happening, that is where I try to give them something to
Right, right.
work with. Or
Okay.
maybe there is stuff like this, which is like action based, basically. If there's a raid, for example, raids are really important, right? Especially if it's like night raids or something like that, which really can kill a lot of villages in a relatively short time. Or if it's like that one eagle coming on his back, or that one night there was a couple of scenes at World War 5, if you've
Yeah.
seen those, like stuff like that. I try to give them as much as I can without missing what they are talking about, and without like taking away too much from them. It's like a give and take, basically.
Okay, okay. And all right. I think I sort of want to ask you, have you been playing AoE at all since like Rebel Wololo 3? Did you
Yeah, but
play any
only
of it?
only against AI.
Oh, when you're against the AI, you don't like I mean you must have made some friends with the players, you should squad up with some of the big boys. They'll carry you through some games, you know?
Only now, only on this
Ah,
event I made friends with a couple of
not from
first
3 and
time
4.
actually meeting them. Yeah.
All right, yes, this was the first time Rebel Willow land. So do you think you're gonna play some more of the game?
Yeah, if I get the time to. Right now it's really busy for me because my wife is pregnant,
Okay.
and our
Oh,
next one is going
okay.
to be due in, basically in within a month, roundabout. So it's got to be a lot of busy time again, family for me. But yeah,
Shucks, yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna try to stream as much as I can. So I'm gonna be definitely streaming a lot of Age as well, because I'm really, you know kind of caught on fire right now. I want to play because I saw so much amazing games, so many
Yeah.
amazing games, and at 5, that always motivates.
So going into sort of like more the career of observing, are you a full-time observer? Is that like a
Yes, yes, I'm
Okay, you're a
doing that
full-time observer.
full
Wow.
time.
So you're a full-time esports observer. Man, that's awesome as hell, man. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be surprised to hear that esports is developed enough to offer a full-time position for that. Are there a lot of full-time observers that you know of? Or is it like a super niche
I
thing?
only
Yeah.
know myself.
Okay, so you're in like your own unique category. If you need to go
Basically,
check on
yeah.
that, you go ahead, man.
I just came in. Yeah, I'm gonna present you with my little son here.
Hey, hello, Little Mapu. This is Little Mapu. Little, Little
Yeah, this is
Mapu.
my son,
Oh,
Noah.
excellent.
It's called.
Welcome to the stream, a future legend. You know,
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
yeah, yeah. You gotta get him on that AoE, everybody. If he starts playing AoE
Yeah.
from now, by the time he hits 20, he's gonna be the greatest player of all time. You gotta get Little Mapu on that grind. Hello, hello. The viewers at home are loving Little Mapu. They're
Yeah. Well, I
appreciating
love him too.
yeah. Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes.
He's really cute, but yeah,
Yes, yes,
he's
yes.
also very demanding, of course, as every
Oh well,
child is.
that's just how it is, We don't mind, He can come in here and interrupt the interview anytime he wants. That's fine with us. Yeah.
All right, there might be a point if he is, on point. He might have a full diaper in a bit, so I might need to change that.
Oh, that's all
It's
right.
gonna
If you
take like
need
a
to
couple of
go
minutes,
take
but yeah.
a yeah, we'll wait for you, Mapu. We're here to hear from you. I know a lot of people have wanted to get this interview going, so it's not going to be a problem at all. Yeah. So we were talking about your career in observing. So yeah. So all right. So you started out observing. How many years ago was this now? Was the first time?
I think it's 6 years ago now. So, yeah, it's been a time. It's been some time.
Okay, 6 years.
Um, maybe, yeah, no, maybe 5.
Okay,
Let
five
me
years. Yeah.
think. I think, yeah, 5 actually. This year coming to an end now. It's gonna be 6.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm like within the 6th year. I think I
Yes.
started 2000, maybe 2005, late 2015, early 2016. Maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I mean, of course, I don't want you to give away you're the world's only full-time observer, so we don't want to give away secrets. But sort of walk us through that sort of journey of, starting off from observing into actually doing it full-time, just that specific part of the career path for you.
Um, yeah, for me it was really easy because I was still studying university and I was basically living off my parents' wallets. So I didn't have any living costs. I was living at their home, and my first workplace was really close, so I could just basically go from there. And then getting into it was basically always fly somewhere, fly somewhere, fly somewhere. So you don't really need your own place. You don't really have any too many living costs. Basically, if you have like my parents' place was in a bigger airport area,
Right.
so I could always go there and go from there, basically to the events, and that really helped a lot because I could just live there and build this up basically for myself. And after like 3 years I come to a point where I was like, okay, now I'm really actually making some money and I think I can really do this for a living. And yeah, the first years was not as much, of course.
Hmm. Okay, okay. So that's good. What about like in terms of, the future of your career in observing or even like the wider esports industry? Have you like thought about next steps or like any long-term plans or anything of that sort?
I haven't thought too much myself about what I want to do. I really 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 enjoy observing. It's actually was kind of my dream job for a really long time, um, like basically since I was growing up. And if possible, I hope there's going to be a lot of RTS coming out. I
Right.
mean, Age of Empires 4 is around the corner, really, just next month, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, basically, I'm looking forward to that. Maybe there's some opportunities there. I hope esports is going to keep developing as it is right now, and there's going to be more opportunities in the future to keep doing this because I really, really love this. It's really like passion for me as well as, of course, now professionalism.
Yeah, I mean that's great. Have you thought about like are you trying to get into like any other branches of esports? Like commentating, maybe more on the back end, involving in teams, maybe doing more streaming yourself, any other stuff, playing on stream, anything?
Yeah, I used to like I tried to stream like a couple years now, but it was always a little bit difficult with the family and having a real schedule. And then as well. Like now, my boy goes to the kindergarten, so I've got some time
Yeah,
usually,
yeah,
like
yeah.
during the week. But at the same time, it was really hard to play any competitive game at first because I had to basically go and look after him every 5 to 50 minutes and something. So I can't like join a game and then pause every 10 minutes or
Of
something
course.
for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or sometimes it takes like 30 minutes. So that's like not basically it wasn't possible for me to play any RTS really. And so I streamed a lot of RPGs and MMORPGs, which also are fun to me, but it's not the same. But yeah, the audience didn't carry over, so it was a little rough basically
Right, right.
to get that going, and never really took off streaming. Yeah, unfortunately, but
Yeah, it could be a
um,
grind, man,
yeah,
Any
yeah,
other
yeah.
areas of esports you'd want to get into?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like being part of a team organization.
Mm.
That sounds really interesting to me, even as a managing role or as a supporting role as well. Um, I would be open to go like into organization for or like yeah, managing basically as well for bigger events as well because I've
Right.
seen my fair share now. I know a lot of little tweaks which are important to make a good show from the broadcast point of view and how to operate with casters and of course with observers and how to set the thing up. And that would be very interesting to me, but there haven't been any opportunities really, so
Okay, yeah.
that's a little bit a little bit on the rougher side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a growing industry, so I hope more opportunities open up for you and so let me ask you, you made such a big splash in the AoE tool community. Um, have you had like that same reception in like StarCraft? Do people know, oh yeah, Mapu, that's the observer guy, or are you more like a hidden figure in other games that you
Yeah, I
observe?
think I made the splash in StarCraft 2 as well. Yeah,
Okay.
it happened there really early, and it grew a little bit slower, but or it grew a little bit slower. But here in age, it was like it just dropped like a bomb drop basically
Yeah, yeah.
on Red Bull. And that was really I was really happy to see that people were as like enjoying themselves as much as they did, because that's where I want to be in the end. Like I just want people to enjoy esports. I want them to enjoy what we show them. And
Right,
that's like the biggest compliment for me, just having people enjoying themselves watching the games. So yeah, and for StarCraft it was like a little bit slower build up, but people would notice eventually, and there was always the casters were already on board, so it was a little bit easier to grow there as well.
right.
Yeah, but yeah, I
Okay,
guess
okay.
I am kind of famous now in both, but just so
I'm
much, yeah.
certainly famous. We had like what 50,000 viewers in Red Bull, and all of them spamming the name in the chat. I mean, yeah, you're one of the most recognized faces in AOE. So, do you plan to continue on more in Age of Empires?
Oh, if I get the opportunity, of course, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely. It's so much fun right now, and I don't want to stop.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, you could you know, if I may give some like unsolicited advice here, like maybe try streaming Age of Empires. Age of Empire, I could tell you, like I started streaming last year through AOE. I'm like a nobody. I literally just bought the game and just like, okay, well, and I read that Twitch was blow up. I think they had like 100 or 200% increase in people on their platform. So I was like, well,
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
bored, so whatever. Yeah, people started watching me, and I'm like, who's going Franco? So Mapu casting, you could do some casting in AoE. That'd be great. And I know like the casters and admin would love to have you. I mean, I don't want to talk for the people. I don't know why I would just say that, but I would imagine that, people would be very open to you on the back end in the AoE2 community. Anyway, yeah, so we were talking about your future in the career and where things are going for you. But right, so I don't remember what I wanted to ask. So you observed Age of Empires. Have you only is the only other game you observe StarCraft?
StarCraft 1 and 2, yeah. Basically, I've only done real-time strategy games. This is really what
Okay.
where I thrive in as well. So I haven't done any, oh God, League of Legends, for
Right,
example,
right.
or Counter-Strike, like any shooters or any, how are they called? MOBAs, yeah. Sorry.
Right, right. I feel like MOBAs would be like a natural, because I came from MOBAs into RTS, right? I used to play like 9 years of League, then I went to some FPS, and I naturally fall into RTS. Any reason you haven't tried to break into the League of Legends market?
It's just not there is not too much passion for me in that
All right,
regard.
okay, okay.
I know a little bit about how they work, like the observers, of course, on big events as IEM, for example, or those kind of really big ones, dream hacks. You get to see a little bit of the other people. You work with the same
Okay,
productions that worked with those people,
right.
so like I had like 1 year at IEM in StarCraft, I had a setup for Counter Strike Observer, which was like terrifically, amazingly bad for StarCraft, and I had to work with that for the whole finals day. It was so
Wow,
terrible.
wow.
But then I got to see how like Counter Strike Observer works with like his basically, I think it was 12 monitors,
Jeez.
one for each player, and one
Oh,
for the
wow.
live, and one for the live feed, and then one for him to move around. It was it's amazing, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So how many monitors do you do for Age and StarCraft? One for okay,
I know, I just need one.
and one for StarCraft as well?
Yeah.
All right. So wait, so is that guy with the 12 monitors, is he like he's a super observer then?
No, 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 no. They have a trick in Counter Strike. They usually have a time delay. They have a 10-second delay basically between
Oh,
live and the program feed. So the
okay,
observer
okay.
in front of the casters. He doesn't care what casters are talking about. The observer is just looking at what's happening in the
Oh,
pitch.
okay, okay. Yeah,
He
that
needs the
that's
game understanding, of course, like
right,
for
right, right.
grenades and stuff. There's strategy behind that, of course, and he needs that to show that. But other than that, he's like just like clicking through the action basically, and he has the time delay, so it makes it work possible. But otherwise, it would basically impossible, right?
Yeah, so he's like an amateur then. He's like he got delays, he got they ain't doing it live like Mapu. Mapu is I'm doing this live. I don't care what's going on. They're gonna get everything and it's gonna go smooth. That's
Yeah,
yeah,
well, it kind of feels to me that way, but then on the other side, like FPS is one click, right? It's basically instant, and there is no time frame for you to react. And
right,
in
yeah.
League sometimes as well, you want to see, for example, if CC happens, you want to see it happen. You don't want to be there when the CC already has hit, and then the
Yeah.
character is just gonna die.
I was just like so okay, so it's interesting. You're the only full-time observer in the world that we know of.
Oh, well, I mean, for real-time strategy,
Oh, fine,
I
yeah.
guess. And there are some people who did go on that route, but they have been part of other companies and doing other stuff on
Right,
the side
right.
as well. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay. So in terms of like the games that you observe, StarCraft and now Age of Empires, it seems like StarCraft. I'm not too familiar with the franchise, so I'm just sort of guessing for the sake of interview
yeah.
questions here. But has the game been on a decline, since its heyday?
Please come again. Has the game
Sorry, so
been on
has
what?
the game, have experienced any drop in viewership?
Oh, StarCraft has been incredibly stable. Kind of, it's been growing
Okay.
like 30%, then falling 30% again, but
Right,
it's
right.
never really crossed that line where it's really going down. It's been always around like, I don't know. There's never been a bigger event without like 40K viewers
Okay.
or 50K viewers,
Yeah.
so it's been always around that. And right now, there's young blood in the scene.
Right.
There's a guy from
Okay.
Italy and a guy from France who are like 16, 17 years old, maybe now 18.
Ah,
But they have been really making the scene like a refreshment basically to the
nice,
scene,
nice,
and
nice.
because they've become insanely well. They have been hugging spot one and two like for a
Ooh,
year now, and that's been
that's
really good to the
crazy.
game and to the fans.
That's nice, because listen, I suppose I am in esports myself, because I stream video games sometimes. And I'm always thinking
Yeah.
like this industry, I mean, it's growing, but it seems like so volatile, no industry is immune. I'd always just be like afraid of like, a crash and not knowing what happens next. Oh, sorry, somebody's asking me one of questions.
Yeah.
So everyone tuning in, we'll have questions, I would say in about 15 to 20 minutes. But Vorian, if you need to leave or something, you could feel free to inbox me those questions on Discord and I'll ask it, and I guess you could see the VOD later. But if you need a head out, just feel free to inbox me the questions. Yeah, so that's like do like have any of those concerns yourself? I mean, the game better than me, so you would be able to educate me. Are you have any fears of shrinkages and collapse and how what it would do for you
Yeah.
personally?
So I think esports as a scene, or as a scene basically, is at a level where it's not gonna go away, like
Right.
really ever. It like basically games coming in are gonna refresh the scene, new games. So there's always gonna be a next step basically within the industry. Um, but of course, things like the pandemic right now have been a huge impact to everything, really, the
Right.
whole industry. It's been really bad for me as well because I couldn't
Oh,
travel anymore. And first, I just got like before the event Red Bull 5, I just got finally double vaccinated, so I was able to travel at all.
okay, nice,
And even
excellent.
now coming back, I have to be in a 2-week quarantine, so I wouldn't be able to travel again somewhere if I had a new gig right now. So the pandemic has been really, really tough. It's increasing like all the flight prices as well. All the
Right.
flight companies have been really bad, doing really bad as well. So that like also goes into esports industry because people are basically coming from around the world, which can be a good thing, but also a bad thing at the same time. I suppose it's nice that like it unifies so many countries and so many cultures,
Right.
but at the same time, it can be a hurdle, like a step, which was possible right now with the globalization and like how the world has been evolving, but also can take a big hit if a pandemic like this happens. And yeah, it unfortunately happened, and everybody has to deal with this now. So yeah,
Right. Right.
it's not the best time right now, and I was really glad that I had the opportunity to work on Age of Empires because that was kind of good, really a refreshment for me as well, a good helping piece
Right.
as well for my career
You
there.
know, it's because it's interesting. I think since the pandemic started, I think video games as the industry has seen a bit of a boom. Because even Age of Empires, I think it has nice sales when it first released, and then when people started to have go into lockdown, we saw another spike. And of course, like I said earlier, Twitch had a spike as well. So it's interesting that on the esports side, the tournament side, that it actually negatively affected you all, I suppose, because no LAN events. But is it that tournaments just took a while to go online, or people were just like canceling tournaments outright and wouldn't even bothering to postpone? Well, how did it like?
It's more like it's more affecting the sponsors basically. So
Okay,
all of their sales are going down, so they don't have as much money as they want, and they can't put it into esports anymore. So it's
right,
like other companies, of course. For example, Intel, I think, has been doing really well, like computer parts selling companies, for example, because there's
right,
been so many computers being sold for the pandemic. Everybody's like, okay, yeah, I've got time, I can buy a new computer and just like play some games or something. um, so it's been good to some parts, but it's been bad to most sponsors. So yeah, we had a lot of money breaking away, basically, which was like this hidden money.
right,
This
right,
like what the viewers see, like, oh, viewership is amazing, which is really good. But it's also bad that all those companies who have interest in the scene, in the industry, don't like have regressing sales because their chains of whatever like production are being disrupted or whatnot, and they have so many things to need care of with the pandemic that costs a lot of money, and they
right, right.
suddenly don't have that free money to put into esports to promote themselves anymore.
Okay. And okay, let's see. And is observing okay, well, obviously observing online was because you did it for Rebel Wololo 3 and 4. So I want to ask that. All right, so thinking more about Red Bull Wololo again. And what were some of your favorite moments? So you observed them at Rebel Wololo 3, Rebel Wololo 4, and Rebel Wololo 5. Do you have any favorite moments throughout the whole series?
I think, yeah, for me personally, it's been mostly all about Red Bull 105. Like, if we say favorites,
Yeah, CLAPU for Mapu. Oh yeah, of
yeah.
course, yeah.
Well, my favorites are basically like it was the first LAN event we did.
Right.
So even when I do this online, there is like a 1.5 second delay between me and the casters, what they see and when they talk back,
Right.
basically. So having this basically 0 second delay on a LAN event, that really made everybody shine as well, and
Okay,
that's a
nice.
really important thing. And I think still online can be very good. It's also really good, but it's never going to be as good as LAN is going to be.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, but any like game moments? Any game
Game
moments you remember?
moments,
Like, oh my God, it
yeah.
blew my mind. What
God,
are the favorite game moments?
I mean, basically, it was. I think it was Dowd getting wrecked by that eagle. I can't remember
Oh,
exactly, but yeah, like those small things. There was some. I can't. I had so many games. I can't remember the players. I
you
just
don't gotta
remember the
remember the players.
situations. Basically, there was like somewhere there was a knight in a farming eco, like on 1 HP, and he killed like I think 10 villagers or
Oh my
something just
God.
because no reaction. There was stuff like that.
Oh
That's
yeah,
like what
it's
gets
gotta
me
be
going the
fun.
most because that's like it's like a very very tiny. It's like such a tiny mistake, but it results in such a big impact
Yeah.
at the end of the game. And those moments are basically my highlights, which I love the most. about
All
the
right.
games.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. And okay. And anything specific to Red Bull Wololo 5 that you like the most? Anything like gives you
I
like a
mean,
good memory?
game wise
Anything
or
wise, anything.
anything.
Yeah.
I think Red Bull 105, like the location, how the production worked, all that thing. God, that was so amazing. Like having the thing in a castle, having the costumes, having the
Right.
villages.
Yeah.
There was so much love to detail in the event, and I really, really enjoy seeing that because it it just created an atmosphere, I think, which was just amazing. All the players that were after the event ended, all the players came into the production room and they walked through and they was just clapping ovations for all the production because the production did such a good job at building the venue. They basically did
Yeah.
everything, all the little details, all the like the civilization draft, for example. It was really fun to me, even though it wasn't as
Ah,
fun
you
to
got
the
the toot.
players. But yeah, I got the Teutons.
Nice. Is it solid? How?
Yeah, yeah, it's solid.
Oh,
It's
it's pretty
like
solid.
it's wood.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
wood. I've
even
also got the tutars.
even the icon on it is wood.
Yeah, it's
Oh
also
man,
a
that's
wood plate.
amazing. It looks like that the name is glued on though. That kind of sucks. Yeah.
The name is actually, I think it's a magnet. I'm not 100%
Oh.
sure.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
they tried to do this with magnet versions and they just wanted to
Right.
knock
Right.
off the Sif at first, but
Right.
that
Right.
was too, like, whenever they would grab a thing, they would always fell off.
Right.
So
Right.
they
Okay. Yeah.
fixed it to the poles and then all, like,
Oh
a lot
man.
of the adjustments also were made through the event, like with the Sif draft especially.
Mm-hmm.
There was a basic idea which was really like amazing to the eye. It was hard for the players to adjust at first. I think they really got into a good groove with it later though. Um, and then like it was always how do we show this good because like oh we're gonna place them here the bands and the pigs there, but how do we like make it visible as so like accessible if like on one glance basically you
Right.
just
Yeah.
look at it oh, okay this is like the band which is this is the band which is red, this is the snipe which is blue, and eventually they had like this thing lined up there, this piece of wood, and they could place in the sieves there, which was really really nice I think at the end there.
Okay, excellent. And so you met, the production and the players and the staff. Did you make any friends? Anybody that you met that you wanna shout out?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I really enjoyed hanging out with everybody there.
Nice, nice.
Of course. Yeah, production really gets so little love, so I'm gonna shout out a couple people from production here.
Yeah, let's go, let's go.
Nobody is gonna know them, but there was the head producer behind the scenes. It was
Right.
Chris. He's been doing an amazing job. He was pulling all the strings together and
Nice. Thank you,
like
Chris.
managing everything. If anything was going wrong, like talk to Chris. He's gonna sort it out with his team, and they're gonna
Very
fix
good.
it. He was basically trying to improve. He was the driving force, trying to improve every little detail as the event progresses. And like you might have heard the Wololo sound when we went into games later during the event. That was his
Yeah.
idea, for example, like doing that.
Okay, nice, nice. All right,
And then
excellent.
the guy who is doing the scenes, selecting the scenes. I don't know the
Yeah.
English term for it. Sorry. Um, he Rob, amazing guy. Like whenever you had any issue, just talk to Rob and he's gonna fix it
Nice, nice,
basically. And
excellent.
he was really easy to work with. We had a good flow together to when to jump into the game and when anything was going bad and all that kind of stuff. So it was really really good working with those two. Yeah, from the player side, I really enjoyed. I think most seeing Tattoo, Jordan, and the Viper. I think were
Oh
like
yeah, nice, nice.
the people I most interacted with, I guess. Vinch,
Yeah, I mean
and of course the
those are good
classes. Yeah.
folks. Yeah. I spoken to only the Viper. I haven't gotten to interview Tato or Jordan yet. But so far I've only seen, positive things about these people. So that's good that you gotta hang out. I know a lot of the community, is gonna be jealous. Those are like superstars to Age of
Oh yeah,
Empires
yeah.
players, yeah. And I remember I was watching Dave talk, and he told me that the you two, like, you spoke for hours about the what goes into observing, So it seems like you very passionate about you know this whole observing thing. That's very good, and if people recognize that, I think that's very nice. So, what did you guys get to have any fun over there?
Oh, what do you mean fun?
You
I
know,
had a
did you
lot of
get to
fun,
go
but
out? Did you get to see the city? Did you get to do any activities? Or was it just work, you know?
oh, it was, yeah. Unfortunately, I got a cold during that time, so
Oh, that's rough.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't Corona. We got tested every day, everybody there. So I knew it
Every
wasn't Corona, but
day.
you can still
Jesus.
catch a cold. Yeah, we actually got tested every day there. So we had to make the event safe as possible. So
Right.
there was a lot of safety measures going on, which really, really excelled. And I think event like made it possible at all. And
Okay,
I don't think anybody caught Corona during the event or even after the event. So
that's good.
everything went perfect, right? It was
Excellent.
really good on that side. Yeah. So most what I'm enjoying most basically is after the event, like after a day, just having a couple of beers with the people, talking
Nice.
to them, and just like talking about everyday stuff or even about the games or what happened, like just deflating a little bit there.
Nice,
That's what I
nice.
like the
That's
most.
excellent. So some bear time with the boys, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And you never know who you're gonna meet there because there has been a lot of people behind the scenes as well. There are
Right,
so many
right.
interesting personalities around there. Like I think the
Nice.
girlfriend from the Viper has been there as well.
Oh yeah, Debbie, yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I've talking to her a lot as well, and she was always hanging around, having some drinks and stuff.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
it was really nice. I think the girlfriend of T90 was there eventually as well, and
Oh
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
really really fun seeing all those people behind the people as well. Getting
Ah, that
to
must be
know
so
them
fun,
as
yeah.
well.
Did you did you see the Viper's dad? Did you talk to him at all?
Oh yes, yeah. I actually
PKZ.
was in a cab with him back to the airport as well. Yeah, I
Yeah,
talked with him. Yeah,
nice,
I had a
nice.
beer with him as well. It was really
Listen,
nice. It was so fun actually.
I've been trying to get that guy to interview for months now. If you ever talk to PKZ again, you tell him, you come and talk to Gwen Frank. You had a good time. And we love to hear from him. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. I'm gonna
Okay.
say, I'm gonna tell him if I see him again. I'm gonna tell
So,
him you want to
he's
interview.
actually I don't know if he told you, but he actually runs like the main AoE website,
Oh, I
AoE
didn't
Zone.
know that. No, I knew that he
Yeah.
was really much into AOE and he was playing a lot back
Yeah.
in the day, and
No,
he's
he's one
very
of the people
invested
that
still.
kept the thing alive because, through the website, he was able to do a lot of stuff, right? And keep the thing
Yeah,
alive. So
yeah.
he's actually very important to the game. He's one of the people without him, there wouldn't be, well, I mean, most likely there wouldn't be any AoE today. Yeah. So you
Well,
will, I
that's
mean,
amazing.
you're around royalty, AoE royalty, man. That's fun.
He's very humble. He never talks about that stuff. Like we were talking,
I can imagine,
he's talking more about his son, and
yeah.
how he enjoys him. Like the Viper did really good, right? He won the championship, so
Yay, yeah.
he was always in good spirits, talking about his son
Right,
and
right.
doing good there at the event, and how amazing the venue was and stuff.
That's so
He
great.
never really talked much about himself, like what he did. So he's a very humble person in that regard, I guess.
Such an enigma. Okay. Yeah. All right. What was the celebration like after the event? When the 501, did you all have time to celebrate at all? Or did you have to GTFO and head out the castle?
Um, yes, not yeah. I mean, production really they had like 5 minute break basically, and then they had to
Right.
strip down everything. Um, yeah, the players they really celebrated. I think the
Okay,
you
nice.
saw the GL team on stream. I think just running up to the Viper, and
Yeah, I saw it. It was a great moment.
yeah, that was an amazing moment. I think, and yeah, I just like fist bumped him afterwards when I saw him when I went to the restroom. I don't have too many restroom breaks. So
That's
yeah,
great. That's
yeah,
great.
and then of course we had some beers afterwards, back at the hotel bar, and talked there. And yeah, he was really happy. He was in such good spirits. It's
Can
really good to see
imagine.
him because like for me, I know somebody really close to me from the StarCraft scene as well who had wrist issues as a pro gamer
Oh, yeah.
and had a long history. He had a surgery as well on his wrist, so I really uh, know how much it can impact. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really really happy that he actually made it happen to win this event with his issues as well. I think it's such a confidence boost for him as well, like
Yeah, I
such a
can imagine, yeah.
motivational boost, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great story because I spoke to him a few months ago. It was like it was like, well, when we were now all learning that he was having these sorts of wrist issues, and he was now becoming a bit more public about it, and he was now going into some treatment for it. So, I think it's like such a great story from, a bit of a slump into such a great triumph, winning
Oh
on
yeah.
the I guess the biggest stage so far. But okay. Um, so, as I said a few times in the interview, there was the CLAPU for Mapu moments, in the chat. The community really took a shining to you. Have you had any interactions with the community at all? I mean, you line with the players and some behind us folks from Rebel Wololo, but have you had any interactions with the community since?
Not as much as I wanted to.
Okay,
I mean, there's been at work, it's mostly work, so I don't really have too much time. I try to look at Twitch chat sometimes between the games
right,
when the next lobby's gonna set up and look at how the viewership's doing and all that kind of stuff. But there's also a lot of fixing been in between the games which need to be taken care of.
right.
So I was also moving a lot around. There wasn't really too much like time in between, which I usually had at StarCraft events.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really hard to get to like even a platform to interact with people. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so it is.
of course there were some people there from the community, which are maybe a little bit a bigger community figures, which I interacted with and which
Okay,
was
nice.
fun. But I wish I was able to interact more with the people and from Twitch. I was trying to log into my Twitch account and posting something in the chat, but it didn't work because we didn't have any reception for our
I
cell phones in the
mean, it would have
castle.
gotten buried anyway, there wouldn't have
Yeah,
been anything
probably.
to even see. All right, well, that was some great questions and answers there. I think now I want to get into some audience questions. So for the audience, what you can do is hold on one sec. Just go in. What you need to do is go into the chat and tag my name so I can see the message highlighted. And ask the question, what is your favorite color, Mapu? So that'll be the first question. What's your favorite color, Mapu?
My favorite color is yellow.
Oh, that's nice. Just like the Viper. Viper's favorite
Yeah,
color
yeah,
is yellow. At least in the game,
I
I
know,
think.
and it happened.
Yeah. So that's
But it has nothing to do with each other. My favorite
that's
color
right.
has always been yellow.
My favorite color in the game is yellow. So
Yeah, like for
yeah, it's
me,
good.
in basically in RTS games, I really enjoy yellow. I for some reason I just love yellow.
Yeah, it pops so well on these games. I don't know why. Okay. I had some questions here from Facebook.
Yeah,
So
sure.
Nick Stevenson asked, well, he says it's a great interview. Well done. Um, Jonathan Newman asked, what is your favorite counter to all in Tarkins? I'm guessing you have no idea. You have no idea the answer to that question, so let's ignore that. Sad can ask, how did you have such good map awareness that you knew exactly what was going on and when, and would instantly notice it and ping it?
Sorry, I was just reading chat right now. Can you
Oh, no
please
problem.
repeat the
They
question again?
ask, how did you have such good map awareness that you always knew exactly what was going on and would instantly notice it?
Well, basically, always have an eye on the minimap. That's like basic rule for being an observer. Always have one eye on the minimap, and just like when something moves out, you can have a look at it and like start a story from there. If it's like a couple skirmishes just going to a wood line, it's
Right.
not gonna have a big impact. But if it's like three crossbows, they can kill villagers.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point you need to remember, okay, this is something I want to come back and when it hits or
Right.
not. You need to be you like take a priority there at some point and like basically cue the stuff you want to show and like start a story somewhere.
Right. Right. And John Van Petergem asked, how does observing in AoE 2 and StarCraft differ from each other?
Okay, so StarCraft has static maps, like no random map generation. Once you know a map, you know a map. There's no anything that changes about it.
Right.
So there's always the same position that is important. Um, in Age of Empires, those random map generations really make positional warfare much more interesting because those positions are random basically. You don't know before the game, you don't know where you haven't explored. what might be important. So Age of Empires is a lot more about positions, while StarCraft is a lot more about the 1 second stuff. Like in StarCraft, stuff dies within a second, which does not happen as much in Age of Empires, except for like mangonel shots or
Mm-hmm.
basically stuff like they like 10 Knight coming in on an echo. They can really wreck those quite fast. But and StarCraft is like 1 second, literally, it's one animation into death in a lot of them. So
Oh,
that's a lot of like timing wise, it's way different. And Age is a little bit more laid back, but then it's a more positional, so there is
right,
more going on at the same time. It's a lot like more, and in StarCraft it's a lot more on timings than Age of
right.
Empires, I guess.
Okay, interesting. Well, thank you, Jean Van Petergen, for that question. And I see here in the chat we have Jean Sylvanas asks, being the only observer for Red Bull Wololo 5, how do you stay alert and sharp mentally for so many hours? And Ham for Life, also remarked, 12 hours in spectating and it was always on point, it's an amazing job. So, how did you accomplish that?
Okay, give me 1 second. Give me one
No
second.
problem. You go ahead, man. Yeah. 1 hour 40. I need to mark the time down for the video. I'll just edit it out of the video. He's taking a little break. He has his son. For those of you who came in late, he had his son and he's a cute kid. Okay. Okay, welcome back. Yeah, so the question was how do you stay alert for 12 hours of observing and so many hours and over days of observing, being the only observer for Red Bull Wololo 5?
Let me show you the answer.
Okay. Ah, hey, got the plug. Get this man some cash.
This was an unpaid plug.
Nice.
um, no,
Yet.
yeah. So basically, trying to have a little bit of caffeine. I don't really usually drink any caffeine. That's like my thing. I only drink coffee or energy drinks during events. So I don't drink it at home mostly at all. So I can have like the boost basically for these
Right.
events. Um, of course, sometimes it can be really rough. Then I like sometimes I just like listen to some music in between the games or just like try to calm myself down. Sometimes it really helps hyping me up. There's a lot of different um, like little tricks I have, and
Right.
one if one doesn't work, I try the other one, and usually I get something to get me going again.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's good. So you sort of like balance your life around the work. But yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Caius Cosadis 2 asks, Zerd, Protoss, or Terran?
I actually love random,
Oh,
but
my man.
but if you'd ask my favorite, it's gonna be Terran.
Okay, all right. That's the human race, right?
Yes, the
All right,
human
excellent.
race.
Salty Alti asks, will you come back as a StarCraft 2 observer one time?
Well, of course, if I get the opportunity again, and like right now, they have been working with an in-house observer, but I wasn't able to travel, and I'm in talks with them right now. I'm back possible to travel again to events, so I think I'm gonna be back at StarCraft as well. I had some talks a couple years ago, where I was guaranteed a lot of work in StarCraft, so I'm gonna go try to do Age and StarCraft as much as I can, basically, like as
Very
well, like
excellent.
StarCraft as good as I can manage those two together. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it came at a perfect time with Age 4 coming out. It's supposed to have like a, sort of revitalization, more tournaments from big sponsors. So yeah, perfect timing, Mapu. Look at that,
Yeah.
So Kate underscore AOE ask, how challenging is it to keep up post-imp battles where so many battles are happening everywhere, especially when especially with micro specialists like Leary? How do you
Yeah. Yeah.
choose where to look?
Okay. So this is a very good question. So I try to keep track of as I said earlier, I try to like develop tell a story with pictures. So I try to get like like a group of unit moving in, like on the move at first before it hits. and I try to keep track of what is moving there. So I know like whether they move around the minimap. I know okay, this has been a group of Arbalest there. This has been a group of Arbalest there, and there's Hussars over there, and I try to do it like that. Like when they hit, I try to okay, are they going in right now? And then jump over there quickly. I know it's a raid, for example. Then go back to the big battle. I try to look at the minimap as well, like how's the army movement in a center, for example, if it's a center battle. Um, um, how they if they are about to engage or if they are moving back, you know. So when they're about to move in with their troops, trying to go back to the center, show that
Right.
again. So it's like a lot of remembering on that part and
Mm-hmm.
having a look at everything, trying to move out and trying to develop a story from there. But it can be impossible sometimes to really show everything because sometimes literally two or three things happen at once, post
Yeah,
imp
of course.
especially, and sometimes you just miss a Mangalore shot because there was a Mangalore shot on the other side as well, you know.
Okay, okay. And Purge Finn asks, would you consider casting AoE 2 games?
uh I don't think I'm a good caster. I tried casting in StarCraft 2 for some, but I don't think I'm an interesting caster, so I probably wouldn't cast now. I really enjoy observing, being like the first person behind the scenes,
Right.
basically. That's like what I love to do.
Okay, okay. I mean, I still think you should try it out, I mean, the H2 crowd, they're a weird bunch, anybody could make it here, they don't.
I mean, I wouldn't mind like being a co-caster somewhere, but not like going on a limb
Yeah,
of my own, you know?
yeah, co-casting, that's fine. But Kate underscore AOE asks, do you adapt your observing depending on the player after knowing their play style? I mean, does that make it easier?
Yeah, of course. Knowing the playstyle makes it way easier. If it's a very defensive player, for example, there's a lot of to focus on wards, for example, you know?
Right,
Um, like how they wall and if they quick wall and how they basically defend themselves. And like on defensive positions, also resource locations even close to their bases become very important immediately because they might not move out there because they, you know, the opponent might have some forward stables there at some point, you know.
right,
And that really helps knowing a player's play style if it's going to be an offensive game, or like I guess like more about players' play style. It's also about civs, how they operate and how like on the maps, you know, that's basically everything flows into that. And you know, you get like kind of an idea of what's most likely gonna be the ground the baseline here,
mm-hmm,
and then you can develop from there. But I guess your question also goes into players like Leary, for example, who have
mm-hmm,
this outstanding micro, and like Viper. Those players, of course, I try to show their micro as well. I want to set that into motion for the players to watch because that's
right.
something amazing you don't see as much. That's something that you try to copy but you never can, you know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. All right, that's amazing. Okay, so that's the last question. So before we end the interview, I just want to get into some Kate saying thank you for answering the questions. Thank you, Mapu. Um, so I want to sort of get into, you know, um, hobbies and interests. This sort of who was the Mapu behind the screen, like what do you do in your spare time for fun? What's.
Okay, yeah. I like to, and like right now, I love to spend time with my family, of course. And that's a lot of
Nice.
fun. Like, you know, having a young child is a really new dynamic to my life right now, and like seeing him learn all things and teaching him things and stuff is really fun. Like his
That's
all
good.
of his first, you know, that's a big part for me. Other than that, I really enjoy traveling. I used to travel to Japan each year
Okay.
since I was like 22, like so 2012 basically, and I used to just I learned the language just by traveling here, and
Right.
I just went into pubs and bars and just sat down and drank with random people at cafes. It was
Wow, what the
that's a
hell?
really good country here, Japan. If you know the language, you can just talk to the people, and they're so friendly over here. It's amazing. That's
Okay,
like
excellent,
one of
excellent.
my biggest interests here. just like hanging out with people, drinking some beers. I love beer. You know, I'm a German after all, at
Yeah,
heart, and yeah.
of course.
Um, yeah, I guess, and of course, like gaming is one of
Like
the biggest thing for me
naturally,
as well.
naturally. Okay, and do you have any pets?
No,
No pets.
we always used to have a dog at my parents' house, but yeah, we in Japan it's really difficult to have any pets at all because
Oh,
living space is really small, and
right, right.
yeah, we're just happy right now
Okay,
having
okay.
barely enough that I have an own room basically. It's not even my own. Like my wife does her makeup as well in the room, and we have a lot of storage here.
Okay.
But yeah, so, and also my wife is really allergic to a lot of animals.
Oh, shucks.
She also wants a dog. I want a dog eventually, but
Yeah, we'll see
yeah,
that.
it's probably not gonna happen for a long time, and at least we need a house or something first, you know.
Have you? Oh, I think we're gonna see little
Oh, my
Mapu
son,
again.
my son is just bringing me some crackers right now.
Okay, how nice. Very nice. Little Mapu. It's good to see you again. Hello, little Mapu.
No,
Oh, is he
are you gonna
watching?
say
Is he
hello?
watching me?
He doesn't know English yet. Yeah, he's watching the
Uh,
stream right
what's
now.
hello in Japanese?
Konnichiwa. But he also knows
Konnichiwa.
German,
What
you
I
know.
guess the oh nice. What's hello in German?
Hello with
Oh
A.
yeah. So yeah. That's pretty straightforward. Hello, 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 hello. Is oh. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so you heard me. Nice. Okay,
Yeah, he heard
excellent.
you. He smiled a bit.
Okay, that's great. I get to speak with little Mapu, future Age of Empires Pro, because they're gonna get him started from day one, and he's gonna be destroying them like from 15 years old, or StarCraft Pro, whichever, whatever is his
Oh,
destiny.
RTS definitely, yeah.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
whichever RTS might be the big one in 20 years, he's gonna be there. He's gonna be pro.
Yeah, maybe Age of Empires 4, StarCraft 3. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I could continue on with my question. And so, he's fine again. How many countries have you visited?
I actually don't know.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
been a
it's been
lot.
a lot. Okay, nice. Because of
Yeah.
the observing?
Yes, but also
That's so
I
great.
studied archaeology and I went
Oh,
into the
nice.
and into to Jordan. If you ever heard of the country, it's in Arabia,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah,
around
I've heard
that
of it.
area. So yeah, um, that was really interesting seeing that culture there as well. Like being on an excavation there for 6 weeks was very interesting at the time. Other than
Okay,
that, it's
okay.
been mostly esports for me traveling.
All right, excellent. Let's see. Any favorite foods? I mean, you're from Germany, you got some Japanese cuisine in there. What's been really
Yeah.
hitting it for you? Oh,
Um.
you've been around the world, so I want to go even wider, Come on.
You know what? You know what? My most favorite German food is the bratwurst. You know,
Okay,
good old
no idea what that is.
sausage. You know.
Oh, is it like a specialty sausage?
No, it's basically just it's like minced meat within whatever the cover
Okay,
skin thing.
sounds
You
interesting.
know, but
Nice.
it's really delicious. It's a lot of herbs in there as well, and you just throw
Oh,
it into the
excellent.
grill and then just wait until it's hot and you can eat it.
All right.
Yeah, that's my favorite German one. My favorite Japanese would be well, that's a little bit difficult, but I really love ramen. I think would
Oh,
be probably my
nice.
favorite.
I don't know. I think maybe I've maybe had authentic ramen once, but I'd love to have like, the real deal. Like Naruto.
Yeah, that one.
You watch any animes over there?
I used to watch a lot of enemies. Yeah, that was a lot of. That's where I used to start to get like a hang for the language, you know,
Okay, nice.
and that was why I really took
Oh,
interest into the country as much as I have right now.
all right, interesting, interesting.
I don't watch them recently as much because yeah, you know,
All right.
there's someone demanding a lot of attention. That's
I
also very
mean,
good that I can give it to him.
yeah, so if you okay, do you need to head out soon? Because we could always wrap up here.
I had like
I have like
Give it a
one or
couple
two
more
more
minutes, maybe.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, so just kind of diving into, Mapu behind the screen. Let me get my usual list of questions here. So I mean, so you told us before, you mentioned like you were studying archaeology, and you told me like but you hadn't finished it formally. Do you plan to get back into, finishing up on a degree and maybe doing anything in archaeology?
Yeah, I almost have my degree. That's the funny thing. I need like
Oh,
I have half of the exam already done. But I don't think I have the opportunity at any point.
oh
And
no.
like keeping the thing alive is taking money. So I don't know. Right
Right.
now with the pandemic, it's not that I have too much from it. I wish I could, but I don't see me doing this anytime soon.
Oh no. So is it like you have like a time limit before you have to complete it or else you have to restart?
Not really, but like you need to pay something each semester to the university, or they just drop you
Oh,
out.
shoot.
So yeah, and
Well,
then like they changed the oh god, the order of studies or whatever it's called, like basically what you have to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. They
They
change the
change it.
courses. Oh,
Yeah,
I hate when they do that.
yeah,
It's
and
archaeology.
I yeah.
What do you need to change in archaeology, you know? Well, what, I mean, what the
It's
hell?
about publication rights and or
Uh,
publication stuff and all the kind of
yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever. Okay. So what kind of sparked your love for archaeology though?
Okay, why I love archaeology? Um, I grew up in a town, in a small town in Germany, which has a very big Roman Empire ruin,
Oh,
basically,
ooh,
to
that
it.
sounds awesome.
And
God
that was
damn.
always amazing for me as a child. And we also have
Nice.
a
Yeah, yeah.
small cathedral there in the town. It's a very tiny town, but it's
Right.
kind of infamous in Germany. Everyone in the fifth grade has to go there basically because
Oh, that's
because it's
amazing.
famous history, you know. And yeah, so that always sparked my passion there for archaeology at the time.
Little Mapu. Okay. That's amazing, man. And so being in a castle must have been like a trip for you because of your
Yeah, I
archaeology
visited
interest.
that castle actually privately,
Oh,
like
nice, nice.
12 years back or something, you know,
Okay, okay.
or maybe a little bit longer. And yeah, I knew the castle was amazing, so I was really, really looking forward to this. But seeing it, like how they built everything there, that was just amazing. Really, I'm at a
Mm.
loss of words how cool they did that.
Okay, okay. That's pretty awesome. What part of Germany are you from?
Northwestern, like northwestern part, really close to the Netherlands. It's like it's like the biggest city is further than the borderline to the Netherlands, basically.
Right, right. Okay, okay. I have no idea anything about over there, so I didn't draw any image in my mind even. But
Yeah, have you ever
um,
heard of Düsseldorf, maybe, or
nope,
Cologne?
nope, no clue.
Cologne, maybe the big cathedral, you know, the
Uh,
thing that they built for almost
Absolutely no
500
idea.
years.
I didn't even tell you where I was from. So I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. It's in the Caribbean. So I'm
Oh,
like I'm like a
Caribbean.
world away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very exotic. All good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I do want to visit like Europe someday. I think one of these days I must go to an Age of Empires LAN tournament, and I know Germany has a lot of those because of Nilly. He's one of the
Oh,
prominent
yeah, true.
area organizers. So and I'll be in Germany one day. Who knows? You might see me. Yeah, you might see me. All right. You watch movies or any TV shows?
Yeah, I did enjoy Game of Thrones until it became Game of, you know,
Game of yeah.
yeah. And
Okay, okay.
I really enjoy The Expanse, for example.
Okay,
I
nice.
love some sci-fi. I love Lord of the Rings. I love fantasy and sci-fi basically
Okay,
mostly.
nice. That's very good. StarCraft and Age of Empires.
Yeah,
Make,
basically.
yeah, makes perfect sense. Okay, so Mapu, thank you very much for joining me here today. And thank you for the audience for joining me and discussing and interviewing Mapu and asking questions. I think it was a very lovely interview, and I think I can speak for a lot of people in the Age of Empires community. I hope we see a lot of Mapu. It's CLAPU for Mapu! So thank you, Mapu.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun, and yeah, I hope you got some good questions out of this,
Yeah,
and
of
I
course.
hope the people had some good answers. I hope I was able to provide some good insight as well on the other side, of the
Right.
production, where usually the sun never shines.